Welcome to this episode of the Coach Edge Show. I always say this on our shows, but I am super excited to have this conversation with this young lady on the screen. The words that come to my mind when I think about her, it may seem a little interesting, but the first word that comes to my mind is blossomed. Our blossoming. I mean, that's the word that I think of. And maybe people wouldn't typically use that to describe somebody, but that is the absolute first word. And as you hear this story, you're gonna see that word come out. Other words that come to my mind about her is courageous, confident. Would not have said that a couple of years ago, but we're going to get into that too. Caring, driven. I think that's another word. And absolutely, you can look by looking at her. Fashionable. That's another word that comes to my mind about her. She is a Season Builder alumni. She has just got an incredible story. She is competitive, and we're going to talk about where she executes her competitiveness. And I'm just so excited to share her story with you. Welcome, 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 everyone. Arianna Ford to the Coach Ed Show. Arianna, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
This is going to be
so
great.
Excited.
Good. Well, you look fantastic, and I'm just so excited to start this conversation. So why don't you do this for everybody else? I know these answers, but for everybody else, just give us a little bit of background on Arianna. How old are you? Where do you live? What are you involved with? Tell us about your family.
So hi, my name is Arianna Ford. I live in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm actually a student at Belmont University, but I also live here full time. I have an amazing family. I have a sister who's a little bit younger than me. She's basically my identical twin, if we're being honest here, though. I also have my mom and dad, who I'm so appreciative of. And yeah, I live on a farm in Nashville, too. I have 15 goats and sheep. I have 30 chickens. No idea. I have an amazing standard poodle, but yeah.
And I can vouch for all of that. I don't know if I saw all 30 of them, but I have seen the goats. I've seen it all, and so that is a really cool environment. Mom and dad are just tremendous people and have been so supportive of you, and that kind of segues a little bit. And so Ariana and I met in summer of 2022, so 2 years ago. We met at the prompting of her dad. And so she started the Season Builder program along with her sister. And so that was 2 years ago. There's
Absolutely.
a lot of fear, if you think about 2 years ago. And so if you could talk about that. So at what age you were then, talk to us a little bit about that stage of life and some of that fear. Where was that coming from, and kind of what was that preventing you from doing?
Absolutely. So I was 17 at the time, just about to turn 18, but I had just kind of recently moved to Tennessee from California, and I had a huge fear of just being in a new state in general. That was huge for me after living in California for almost 16, 17 years. And then I was starting a new school, I was starting new church. Literally, I had to repack my whole life and come back to a new place. And I'm not one for change. My daily routine is the exact same every day. I do the exact same every single day. So going through something that it made me flip my whole life around, that was petrifying to me. I was so scared to just make friends, be out there just as Ariana, because in California, I had gone through a lot and just kind of concealed myself and put myself into a little bubble and shell. So when I came to Tennessee, I wanted to reinvent myself almost and make myself a new person, but I was way too scared at the time to start.
So when you were afraid, what was it preventing you from doing? Because that and we might could read between the lines the way you described it a little bit, but what would you typically have done in California, but now with this change and this fear, what were some things maybe you really wanted to do but fear was holding you back?
So as someone who works in fashion, I've always had a huge wardrobe and just personality through my clothes. And in California, I got the chance to dress like myself, be myself. But in Tennessee, it's not a hugely accepted way that I dress. So I was very nervous. I tried to reinvent myself and tried to go country. That definitely wasn't the look for me though. Um, but it was just be my own self as a person. I didn't think I was going to be accepted in Tennessee for who I was at the time. So I really just tried to like make myself look like a copy and paste person that would live here just so I could be like, yeah, like I'm from Tennessee and like draw a line at that.
Wow. Yes. Try to fit in rather than being yourself. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So that was about the time we met. That was a challenging time, and I felt for you during that time, but also I had a lot of compassion for you and wanted to help you break out of that. Now, one of the things that you even told me about back then was pageants, and I don't know much about pageants. Probably everything that I've seen about pageants was on a reality show that's probably not very good, right? To think of pageants, or it's of one time I was in Las Vegas at a trade show and I happened to be in an elevator with 7 Miss Universe contestants because the Miss Universe was there that year. And so that's really all I know about pageants. So just tell us a little bit about the pageant world because that's what you, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that's something that as you started to grow in your confidence and go, hey, this is who I want to be, that you really started to re-engage with. Would that be accurate?
Absolutely. Pageants actually gave me the confidence to be myself after going through what I did. Pageants really just taught me to like love myself and accept myself. But so much goes into pageantry. It's not just standing on stage, looking pretty. There's so much prep that goes into it. We have interview coaching, we have walking coaching, we sit down and discuss wardrobe for hours upon hours, days and days. Like it's I have a whole team behind me just to prepare myself for the 2 days that a pageant could be, the 9 days that a pageant is. There's pageants are widely ranged in how long they are, but I have walking practice where we basically go through the walking pattern for a pageant. We just get to walk on a stage and like prance around, but there's actually a pattern we have to follow. So we go through that. We figure out, okay, this is the pose you're going to hit at this mark. This is the turn you're going to do to transition into this next walk. Like there's so much that goes into that. How long you're going to hold that pose. If your outfit has like a cape or an overskirt, like this is what you're going to do with that at that point in time, or anything like that. And then I have interview. An interview is such an important part of pageantry and just in life too. It teaches talking skills to be able to have a conversation with someone. So we sit down, we go through hundreds of questions, and they can range from anything of what's your favorite color to what do you think about this that's going on in the world. And you have to create an answer from the drop of that question. You have to have it coming to your mind the second they start asking that question. And then you can't just answer it like a regular question and be like, yeah, my favorite color is black. You have to you'd be like, my favorite color is black because when I was growing up, like I always saw these girls dressed in these gorgeous all black outfits and just look so sophisticated that I wanted to look like that. And now I get to. And like you have to have these beautiful, elaborate answers that answer the question really well, but also tell them so much about you in the 5 words that you said.
Yeah, yeah. How hard is it to not want to be too impressive? How hard is it to keep your authenticity, but also that it isn't that's an inspiring answer or that it's a useful answer or you get what I'm saying, like how it seems to me. I was just listening to you talk just now and I'm like, man, how hard is it to balance the desire to be impressive versus the desire to be authentic?
I find it kind of hard because I'll we have resumes that we bring into the judges room or that they have where it has like all of our accomplishments, just little facts about us on it. And sometimes like I'll hear another girl and she'll be like, this is what I do, and I'm like, wow, that sounds a lot better than what I do. And so like I compare myself and I'm like, maybe I need to go into the judges room and just say like, hey, like this is what I do, and like make it sound so grand and beautiful what I do, when really it's I don't need to, because I myself as a person can't I do so much. And again, at the end of each day for a pageant, it's up to the judge how they feel about you, whether you discovered the moon or you found a pretty rock that you keep in your room that is like your most prized possession. Like at the end of the day, what they think of you is how you're going to do at a pageant, regardless of what you yourself do. And so it's just for me, like, I have to keep myself authentic to who I am and know that, like, I am Ariana, and Ariana's going to walk into that pageant room and she's going to tell them, like, hey, this is me, and I'm not going to, like, over elaborate. I'll add a little bit of sugar to it, but I won't make it sound so
A little
grand. Like I
flair. You got to have a little
a little
flair,
flair,
right?
just not gonna make it sound like I went to the sun and back before I went to this pageant.
Yeah. I've been doing a lot of thinking lately, in my own life about around identity, like who am I, like who I am in my case and in your case too. Like we're defined by our faith. I mean, God is the one that says who you are, and then he says who you are, and then he gives you skills and desires, and he wires you certain ways, and he wants you to go live that out. I could imagine, I don't know, I could imagine how there would be some tension in there based on what we just talked about to like be a little more impressive, right? Rather than just sinking in like, man, this is who God created me to be. And let me just shine the light that is Arianna Ford. Does any of that ever cross your mind as you're going through the day to day in the pageants?
Absolutely. I sit there and like, even my sister does pageants too, so I compete against Lexi in pageants, which that in itself is hard to do because I know exactly what she's wearing, what she's gonna say. Like, I know her whole lineup for this pageant, and I'm like, okay, well, she looks really good in that. Or like, she's pretty cool because my sister is the coolest person you will ever meet. I'm sorry, she's so cool. But so just knowing what she's doing and what she's bringing in, it makes me a little insecure about myself. But then I sit there and I'm like, God created us to be two different people, and whether I'm walking into the interview room right before her or I'm six contestants before her, yes, every time I come in after her or she comes in after me, they go, weren't you just in here? And then we go, it's my sister. Let me tell you about myself. Because we're so distinctly different. And I have to constantly remind myself of that is that, like, I was created to be myself. Yes, Lexi's a really cool rock star. All the other contestants are amazing women. But, like, I myself am also amazing. And God created me to be Ariana for a reason. So I just have to constantly remind myself of that throughout the week, throughout the weekend, and just what I'm going through. Because at the end of the day, like, I do all of my pageants for the glory of him, and I want to shine my light for him.
Yes. Amen. Amen. That's great. I love that because it just shows you God can create you uniquely, and where you shine that light can be on in front of thousands of people and 10 megawatts of lights and fancy gowns, or it could be behind a computer in a cubicle in the back of a place writing software code, right? Just be you, right? No one is better than the other. The best you is you. Not your
Yes.
version of trying to be somebody else. Man, thank you so much for sharing that. That is amazing. I love it. Won some pageants recently. Tell us about those, just so we could encourage you, just like be proud of you about that.
So right now I'm the current National American Miss Teen Tennessee. I won that in July of 2023. I'm actually giving up my title in a month today, actually. So that's insane. I have that title. That is the biggest title I've won so far, and it is just an amazing honor to have. I also have another title with a different pageant, Southeast Queen. I'm the Ultimate Wonder Supreme, which that in itself was the a huge accomplishment. I didn't think I was going to do it. Like, I did not think I was going to win. I was a little doubtful in myself, and they had us all down, ready. They were announcing it, and I was not expecting it to be me. I was like, "Oh, it's going to be this girl. It's going to be this girl. Like, it's not going to be Ariana." So I'm sitting there and I'm sitting next to my dad, and they announce it. And I look at him and I was like, did they just say my name? Did they just say my name? And my dad was like, yeah, go. And I was like, I can't believe they just said my name. And Lexi actually was giving up her title from the previous year of winning. So she was up on the stage. And the second I walk on stage, I was greeted by a massive hug from her. That's one thing about I love doing pageants with Lexi is she's always on stage with me because of our ages being so close, competing with each other. So when one of us is announced that they win, like the immediate hug I get from Lexi, or the immediate hug I get to give Lexi, is so great because she's my best friend. So having her on that stage is amazing. But yeah, those are my titles right now. I'm actually getting ready to compete in another pageant in June. I am Miss Belmont Collegiate. So I'm representing Belmont in Tennessee, but it's in Little Rock. It's like a 6 or 7 day long pageant, but I'm so excited for it. I'm competing against Lexi again as well, but it's so great just getting to do everything.
So what are some of the things that it's now that I mean, you've got these titles and you've competed in other, I know the one in Orlando, I remember us talking about that a lot right at the end of Season Builder. You were going down to Orlando and competing. That was a huge deal, multi-day thing. What have the pageants, how have they helped you grow? What are some of the things that you've seen in yourself, how you've changed by participating in these pageants?
So for me, it's been my confidence hugely. I grew up with scoliosis. I battled so much with that self hate. I did not want to be a person, basically. Like, I wanted to sit and rot away in my room. And with pageants, they've helped me be able to go and, one, tell my story. I have a kind of organization I take care of now where I go and I speak with women groups and girl groups and I teach them about self-love, self-confidence. I help kids in hospitals who have scoliosis. They're going through the surgery, they're going through all of it, just to have them sit down and be like, hey, I went through what you're going through. I know exactly how it feels. I know the nerves that you're going through, how you just feel right now. Like, I'm here to talk to you because I know I needed someone who looked exactly like me, who went through what I went through, to be able to sit down and be like, yeah, like, this is not cool. I hate my brace. I hate that I have to get the surgery. And like, I'm so nervous for my surgery. So just really getting the ability to tell my story was huge. Create the confidence to be able to tell my story. When I first went through scoliosis and all that, like, I was so scared to tell people I had scoliosis, to walk outside my house. So confidence has been huge for me. I also have the confidence to talk to people now. I was the person who'd sit in the back corner, sit in the furthest back desk you could possibly imagine, sit there, do my work, leave the class. Like, the second I was done, like, the bell rang, I was out of class, so I didn't have to talk to people. Now I'm like going to events and I'm like, okay, who can I talk to? Oh, she looks really cool. I'm going to go talk to her. And just like really creating the confidence in myself to be able to do that. And it also helped me just become myself again. I really struggled, of course, I said earlier, with like being myself moving to Tennessee. And now I'm so okay with being myself. I will show up to class in a full gown and be like, yeah, this is my outfit for today.
Where are you going? Class. It's what I wear to class.
I had a final and I had went to my stylist after real quick and I just had to like give something back and I was like, hey, and they're like, where are you going? And I was like, I had a final. And they're like, you're in a full gown right now. And I was like, yeah, I know. But I love it. I have loved the ability to just have the confidence to be myself again. It has been so rewarding. When I was younger, especially like 6th grade, I had all the confidence in the world. Like, I dressed how I wanted to be. I was the it Ariana, like full Ariana to her
Capital A,
potential.
baby.
Oh yeah. And then in 7th grade, when I'd been diagnosed with scoliosis, boom, right down a hill. I was in this little pit. Basically, I was trying to dress exactly like everyone else was. I was really trying to just hide like myself. And I went through that a lot. And then around my sophomore year, I kind of created my confidence back. I was like, this is who Ariana is. It was not who Ariana was, but that's what I thought at the time it was. And then I went back into that whole moving year and finally, within the last 2 years of doing pageantry, they've really just helped me become myself and just have the confidence to be Ariana.
Yeah. The way you communicate, you hold yourself, I like this picture that I'm looking at on a computer screen, but is just like a totally transformed person to me. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, it is absolutely amazing. So here's the deal, guys. I'm not the biggest social media guy. Okay. Look, I know nobody fell out in their chair and didn't believe that. I understand. I'm trying to do better. I actually have a social media consultant that's helping us with Season Builder, develop content and everything. But I tell you what, I thought I was the coolest thing since sliced bread when I got to be on, I think on Tuesdays, I was on the OOTD Instagram post. I had no idea what OOTD was. I'm like, I had no idea. But hey, a little outfit of the day. I got to express myself in my all Nike pullover. And if you were to go back and look at all our OOTDs, you're like, well, wasn't he wearing that last week? Oh yeah, I was. I was so close. So that was that was the coolest thing. But I say that little funny story because I started following you on social media back then. And then I was starting to watch this, and there was just this incredible post you made. It was this picture of, it was a photo shoot, but it was a photo shoot of your scars. It was a photo shoot of your back and the where the correction had made and things. And it was like this total like flip deal, of like, this is who I am. This is that. And I mean, I was blown away. Can you just share what inspired you to make that post and then maybe some of the comments?
So I was when going through scoliosis, especially having my curve and just everything that I was dealing with, I did not mention that I had scoliosis because when I mentioned I had scoliosis, I would get a lot of comments back that weren't the greatest. I had a nickname of Hunchback because of it. So I had a very negative connotation around my scoliosis. And I was like, I'm not mentioning that I have scoliosis. And then after my surgery, I fell in love with myself again. And I was like, this is the most beautiful person I've ever felt. Like, I felt so great having my scar, and my scar is the most proud thing that, like, I have. Anything I've gone through, my scar is what I'm so proud of because it's such a huge journey that I went through. And I hadn't really had a platform to be able to be like, hey guys, I have scoliosis. I'm so proud of myself. And entering pageants, you have a platform that you talk about, that you work with. And I was like, I get to talk about myself and this journey that I've gone through that I love. So I posted that. It was kind of my first time just saying I had scoliosis on social media, really, especially with my pageant account. And I got so much love back, and it was such a great, rewarding feeling, especially after having so much negative connotation around my scoliosis. For people to be like, I'm so proud of you. You are an amazing person. You're a rock star. I was like, this is so great because it really flipped how I felt about my scoliosis for me from something that was negative, did not love, didn't want to talk about, to something I'm like, every conversation I can now, I have scoliosis. Like,
Let me tell you about it.
I actually, for one of my finals, got to design a collection based around my scoliosis. I love the collection. It has so much personal meaning to me, and just all the little details I got to put into it really touched me. And I actually had to present it to the council of my college. And as I was going through, one of the like ladies, she goes, "You have scoliosis?" And I was like, "Yes, ma'am, I do." And she's like, "I have scoliosis." So we actually got to sit and talk about it, and I love it. And just being present with it on my platform, I get to have conversation with so many people. I have moms messaging me, and they're like, "My daughter has scoliosis. Like, how did you get through it?" And I'm like, if I'm being honest, I wasn't a rock star going through it. I was a timid little kid who sat in the corner, didn't want people to see her. And now I love that I get to tell them and be like, hey, it's going to be so much better for her. Like, they're like, should we do the surgery? Like, I'm really nervous. Should we go through with the surgery? And I'm like, if you need the surgery, absolutely do the surgery. Because actually, when I would go into the doctor, they would give me this like sheet, and it had like all these questions. And one of them was like, if you were left with the body you had right now, would you be happy? And p- before my operation, I'd find the absolute bottom that was like, I hate my life. I hate how I look. And I would like fill that in, and I'd be like, this one right here. And after my surgery, and I went in and they gave me that sheet of paper, I was so happy. It was the greatest feeling in the world to look at the top of that list and be like, I would love, I love myself. I love how I look. Like, I would be so happy living like this for the rest of my life. It has been so great.
Wow. Wow. I lead a small group of 18 to 28 year olds, 26 year olds at our house on Monday night. And last night, the topic of vulnerability came up, and fear and vulnerability. Like there was a fear of being vulnerable, that was weakness, that people are going to make fun of me, they're going to judge me and so forth. And we had a few folks last night share just about some of the fears and some of their stories that they were so afraid to tell. And they told them, and then how uplifting and how supportive and how much love they felt, and what they thought was the ultimate fear became the ultimate power. And I guess that's what's going through my mind as I'm hearing you talk about this. What was ultimate shame, what was ultimate fear about your body and yourself, to be able to break through that fear and to embrace that and have the surgeries. And I know you were in California last week, from what I understand. You had a checkup,
Yeah.
everything checking up good.
Everything's great. Since my surgery, have had some issues with my right leg. I've lost the feeling in the right side of my quad, the front of my quad, my right hip, and my right lower abdomen. So we were there doing some CT scans, just kind of figuring out, hey, like, that's not completely normal. It's normal for me to have nerve damage from the surgery, but the loss of feeling throughout my whole right body, they were like, let's look into that. But
Hey, that's going
we're
to
all
affect
good.
the runway strut a little bit. I'm thinking, if you can't feel your right leg.
Yeah, but they were like, you're all good. We're just gonna have to closely monitor it, which I completely was like, monitor it all you need. You need me to come back every 3 months. I'm in San Diego every 3 months for you to do some X-rays and CT scans, because I want to be able to do what I do for as long as possible, because I love being able to tell girls who have scoliosis that you can do what you put your mind to. Growing up, I didn't think I could. I was a model when I was really young, and I stopped because I had scoliosis. I was like, they're not going to take me because I look stupid. Like, I hated myself. I was like, this is not who I am. So I stopped what I did, and I want to show girls who have scoliosis now, like, you can be a model, you can do pageants, you can be a singer, you can be famous, like, you can be anything you want with scoliosis. I didn't have a lot of media representation for that when I was younger, so I really just felt like I couldn't be, but I want to bring light to that and just have media representation for girls with scoliosis. So I'm like, as long as you guys can keep me walking, I'm gonna be popping in and out of that room, because I want to keep doing what I do.
Yes. Oh, wow. Oh man, you have turned that pain into such a purpose. I'm just so inspired by it, proud, just so many other words. I love it. I just wrap up my comments in, I love it. It's fantastic. When we were meeting, like, you were about to graduate in like college. You're like, oh no, college. Oh gosh, no, I can't go to college. Like, so I mean, you already mentioned Belmont. You're Miss Belmont now, and you're in fashion design. And just tell us what's on the horizon for you, as far as academically, but also professionally, as you continue to live out this fashion calling.
So I'm actually in the process of moving to Maine. I move it next week, and I'm actually going to go work for a designer who I respect tremendously. I love her work. I love her as a person. I know her really personally well. So moving up to Maine to go work for them for over the summer, which I'm so thankful for, because that is such a huge opportunity. It was such a great accomplishment for me to be able to walk in and just know, like, this is what my purpose is, and God is leading me to it, especially since that was my dream. Since I was young, I sewed my first dress at 8, and after that, it was like, I'm a fashion designer, and that's what I'm doing for the rest of my life. Sorry, I'm a fashion designer.
Sorry, everybody. That's what I'm doing.
Sorry, fashion designer. But that's amazing. I'm going back to Belmont right now as of today. I'm in the process of deciding if I really want to go back to Belmont. I love Belmont. I've loved my classes. I have just luckily been able to get a lot of information that I need for what I want to do. So I'm kind of going back and forth between, do I want to continue going through? So that's what's in it for me. But we're in the process of me working with the best designer in my personal opinion. So I'm really thankful for that. But yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that part too, because I say this a lot and some parents get mad at me, but you know what? This is the Coach Ed show, not their show. So I'm going to say what I want to say on this show. That college is great, but I don't think it's great because of the fancy words they in this piece of paper they give you when you walk across the stage. Just to be honest with you, most of the thing now, I don't want my doctor not going to school. Okay. I want my doctor going to school. I want my lawyer going to school. But like, so I want my engineer that's designing my building to go to school. But like, there are so many occupations or so many things that you don't need college education to do. Now, you may need some of the college experience, like you moving and going to Belmont, breaking out, doing that thing that was a little bit afraid of you. Like that's what you learned from college. I'm sure they taught you how to maybe draw a line over here, or some merchandising thing over there. I'm not discounting what the professors are teaching, but what you learned by going to Belmont is to start running your own life, I think.
Absolutely. Before I went into college, I actually graduated high school and took a gap year from school because I was a little not sure what I wanted to do. I was also fighting with the feeling of being a lawyer. So I was like, is that my actual calling, or is it just like me thinking I'm all powerful? But it wasn't my calling. It was fashion design, as it's been since I was 8. I was doubting God at that moment. But so fashion design, I love, but I was really timid to go into college and just leave my parents. Belmont was 45 minutes away from my house. And I was like, this is the end of the world. I can't do it. I could do it. I did it. I'm so thankful I did it. It has made me so much more confident in myself, and just I can do what I need to do, and it's not a problem. Like I was really nervous going in. I was like, what if like I make no friends? I have so many friends. I love my friends more than anything. They're amazing people. My design disability has blossomed so much because that is something that I really was like, I'm not going to college because I already know what I'm doing. No, she didn't. She needed her classes. But yeah, and it just gave me the confidence to know, like, if you put your mind to something, like, you can do it. I would not drive. I got my driver's license at 18 because I was too scared to get it at 16. I drive all the time now. Like, I remember going in and being like, my dad's telling me I need to get my driver's license. No, that's not happening. But now I'm like, hey, I'm going to Target. Does anyone need anything? And my parents are like, you're driving? I'm like, I'm driving.
Wow. Yeah, that's great. I'm just so proud of you. Right. And, I think you've learned a lot in that first year of college, and that may be what you needed to then set off on your entrepreneurial journey or whatever journey that you end up going with to work for someone, or deciding to design your own line or whatever. Well, you actually have already designed your own line from what I saw. I've seen pictures of it. So you're already
Yes.
off and running, young lady. It's awesome. Well, hey, I just appreciate this time. This is going to help so many people. I know that you'll help me share this episode. Your sister helped share this episode. I just think there could be so many young women, and be honest with you, young guys that could benefit from what you're saying, because we have this stigma sometimes that guys don't struggle with the fear and insecurity and all that. And that's a big L. It's a big lie. We do.
Yes.
We do. And just to hear your transformation story and whatever insecurity, that they had or something that they can overcome that. And just so I'm just so excited to share this episode. So last little question for you. And I want to go back to the 2022 time that we spent together. So you guys were coming down from Franklin to Huntsville once a week, and we were meeting for an hour. And I'll say it first. I mean, you guys didn't want to do it. Like, wait a minute. Why are we driving an hour and 15 minutes down to Huntsville to talk to some old guy? Like, I don't get this, Dad. What are we doing? So, like, we went in knowing that, and that's totally normal. So what did Season Builder, or that mentorship time with you and I, what did it teach you? What were some of the things you learned? What did you become aware of? How did it help you?
So, like you said, I did not want to do Season Builder. My dad had told me, he was like, hey, like, you and Lexi are going to start this program called Season Builder. It's with this guy, Taylor. Like, you're going to go do it. And I was like, no. And he's like, yes, I'm driving you. So we got in, and I remember you sat me down, and it was the first one. You're like, why do you want to do Season Builder? And I was like, my dad made me. But I am so thankful for Season Builder. Like, you helped me realize, like, life is not scary as I thought. I was such a timid kid who thought, like, I couldn't do anything. Like, life was not possible for me. So it was so great just having someone there to really, like, hold my hand and be like, hey, like, I believe in you. You can do that. Who wasn't my parents? Because while my parents were so encouraging and they're like, Ariana, like, you can do all of this, it's my parents. I'm not going to listen to them. So having someone else be like, I believe in you, like, you can do this, it was like, I can do this. And I'm going to do this. So Season Builder really helped me just know, like, I can do this. I am able to be the person I want to be. It helped me be more organized. I remember that was one thing that I was like, I want to be organized. I'm so organized now. I'm actually a little too organized sometimes. A little bit, but it just helped me calm myself down, bring myself back into. I had so much going on just all around me that I was like, oh, I need to do this. Oh, I need to do this. And I'm like, let's make our list. Let's go down our list. Like, you can do this, Ariana. And I actually, like, still have my Season Builder book, and I'll look through it and I'm like, that is so funny to me that, like, that was my biggest problem. It's something that, like, I don't even think about now. Like, I'll just, like, go on with my day and I'm like, remember you wrote that in Season Builder? Like, that was your biggest fear. You're doing it. And it's so great.
Yeah, one of the things, just from a phrase that you had written that kind of summarized things were fear of failure. And when you step on a stage to be judged, that is the ultimate where the fear of failure could creep up the most. And you just embrace that and you face that and to going off to college and driving and just and wearing your clothes like you want to wear them and all that. Like, golly, you have just looked fear of failure in the face and said, no.
Yes.
And I'm just so proud of you. It's been awesome to watch your journey since then, and just so proud of you and your sister. And I know she's doing some amazing things too. And just it's just been an honor. I'm so thankful to be able to talk with you again and to hear your growth story and to share your growth story. So I hope a lot of people learned a lot about pageants too.
Yeah. If anyone has any questions on pageants, you want to enter a pageant yourself, let me know.
Okay, she just turned into a pageant consultant and pageant coach too. All right, that's good.
Pageant coach here.
So what I'm going to ask you to do is I want you to text me your different Instagram. Like, I know you got about 3-4 different Instagram accounts. So I love for people to follow you guys' journey, because I know you do post some things together a lot of times, and they could kind of see, the times when you are competing together. I think that'd be great for those to follow you. And any last parting word or anything that you have for a girl out there that's listening to this, or even a young woman that's still just struggling with, can I really do this? What's your final parting shot for them?
You have the ability to do it. I was someone who sat in the back corner of my entire life thinking I couldn't do anything because of what I was going through. And I know that was so false. I put my faith back into God and was like, hey, lead me as your vessel. And he really did. And just put your trust into God. You can do anything you put your mind to. I know that's such like a cliche thing to say, but you really can, especially with God by your side. Like, he is such an important part of my story too. And he has created the life that I get to live for myself and helped me become who I am now. And that is so, so great. So just really put your trust into God. He knows what he's doing with your life. He created your life. He created the story you get to live. So really just put your trust into him because he is all amazing, all God, so wonderful.
Amen. Amen. That's a great parting shot. Well, thank you so much, I want to thank everybody for listening, watching, finding us on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple Podcast. I would ask that you would share this. I mean, the way that we can continue to impact people is you to share this podcast, share this message. So appreciative of that. And also just special thanks to Arianna Ford for being on the Coach Edge show. Arianna, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I have loved getting to talk to you. It's been so, so great to get to catch up.
Right. All right. Until next time, everybody. See ya.